Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to visiting lecture today. For everyone who have entered the room, we're about to begin, so please have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Honorable Dr. Nisrin Alyani Ishak. As a senior lecturer of Faculty Business, Accountancy and Social Science from Universiti Polytech Malaysia. And a very warm welcome to all participants and students from STEKOM University. Is it indeed a pleasure to have all of you on this memorable occasion? Before we begin, please allow me to read our agenda this afternoon. First, there will be start class presentation by Dr. Sadia Anwar. And finally, there will be a Q&A session after the presentation and continue with photo session at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we will start this event today, delivered by Dr. Nisrin. The time is yours. Thank you.
All right. Just bear with me. I try to change sharing setting. Can you confirm that you can look and view my slides?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Shall I start? Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a good day to everyone. My name is Dr. Nisrin Alyani Ishak. I'm from Faculty Business, Accountancy and Social Science from Universiti Polytech Malaysia. So for today, thank you for, first of all, I would like to say thank you very much for inviting me for this session. And I think that this is very great platforms for us to share knowledge, experience, okay, and then we can exchange ideas for further research and publications. So for today's sessions, I'm happy to share about one of the research talking about the ideas, from ideas to reality, navigating the path of social co-creation for meaningful outcomes. So the topic that I'm looking to is that to unlocking the power of meaningful outcomes, which is co-creations. Some of us may be not fully aware about what is co-creations, but it's okay, we look into and further look up into several aspects of what is co-creations and how it works. And to understand the scenarios of co-creation is very simple and very unique ways. This is very interesting research areas that I think that many of us would be and maybe participate in these co-creation activities. So let's, for today's sessions, I'm just going very quick one, what I will explain later on. So we will explore about what is social co-creation. And second one's looking at the benefits of social co-creations. One will understand the concept itself first, and I will look into an understanding what advantages for anyone, for any companies, enterprises, SMEs, individuals, anyone who can benefiting from social co-creation. The third one will explain about sharing about how to navigate the co-creation process, which is there are several steps that really very fruitful and maybe can be applied in any kind of setup of platforms. And number four, we're sharing about case studies of successful co-creation activities. And then the fifth one, I'm just sharing a bit of what are the tips for having a very effective social co-creation. And lastly, I'm looking into the Q&A sessions from the audiences. So for co-creations, right? I believe that everyone's have experienced shoppings, using a lot of products, services, and then most of us have a lot of opinions, right? And then some of us maybe share these opinions into a platform, social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagrams, or any kind of platforms that you have at this moment. So when it comes to co-creation, it's all about ideas. I do believe that you have your mass experience in using a certain product. So you might have some sort of initially ideas that can be applied. And maybe you want to make sure that the company or the brand itself to use your ideas and apply into their product. But in what ways that your ideas can be proven or maybe can be used or maybe being developed by the companies or brands. So in this topic, in this today's sessions, I'm looking into sharing with all of you on how ideas can bring up into a reality, which is what we focus on for today's sessions. So through ideas, basically, it's very unique ways, and ideas can come from different backgrounds, different experience, perhaps comes from different communication ways or types. So what exactly is social co-creation? So social co-creation is more towards a collaborative and inclusive process, which involving a lot of individuals, such as customers, consumers, companies, brands, engineers, designers, anyone who is a part of our stakeholders. They're together generating an ideas, trying to solve the problems and creates value. So now when it comes to value, it cannot be interpreted based on a piece of paper. It reflects on how we understand how value can be interpreted into something very meaningful, which is you need to be shared with someone and then you can explain to others. So by sharing and you communicating, in the form of social co-creations, such as using any kind of social media platforms, it allows you to have some sort of like insights that can be applied, and then these ideas can be generated. So co-creations is a part of like having a very active participation from people, from users, anyone who would like to contribute in various stakeholders, often with any diverse perspective, backgrounds, and expertise. For instance, when looking at co-creations, it allows us to have combinations of different perspectives, such as if you are customers and consumers, you have experience of using a certain product. So you want to say that this product can be improvised much more better. And perhaps this product also can be beneficial to others. So where the idea goes to. So this is where the social co-creations comes from, in which from ideas to the reality, the participation of companies who have the expertise, or designers, engineers who work with you together and to achieve your ideas and becomes as reality products. So in a way that generative ideas, including like you're sharing your thoughts, and then someone will commenting on your ideas, either it's proven or not, and you are sharing whatever you experienced before in certain products, and this will eventually increase your knowledge, your interest, and also the ideas on developing that particular product. So I'm not talking about a product, it's also including any kind of services. So maybe social co-creation is not only for like one specific industry, it can be applied to any kind of industry, and it involves various stakeholders at one point. So in looking at generative ideas, everyone have their own perspective. So it comes from the background which influence the users, you yourself, who shares your opinions. And then it brings out a group of people who work together and shared a commons of opinions or feedback. So when it comes to social co-creations, there are several characteristics. These are general characteristics that I would like to share. First is a collaboration. So social co-creation is not work alone. You have to work with someone who are expertise, who like to know more or understand further any kind of informations, okay, and then started to have thinking over something, products, how we can improvise this product, how we can give our feedback so that the companies will initiate to increase the valuable of, that particular things or maybe product services, in which can brings to the company's reputation or performance. So collaboration, there are two ways collaboration. We can look into collaboration in terms of physical collaboration, meaning that you work in the meetings, so you put the products and then everyone can chip in any opinions and the feedbacks, and it grows from that. It's more like towards brainstorming session, but it more like technically like brainstorming. It's more like you are sharing your opinions, but it just stopped there. But social co-creation, it's being supported by the companies. So collaboration, another ways is that social collaboration through social media platforms. So instead like you just posted any online any feedbacks, so companies realize that you have very good ideas, and then from the ideas, the companies get invited you together and join on how to make sure that that particular products can be, being developed. The second characteristic is diverse stakeholders. As I mentioned before, stakeholders come from different backgrounds, different roles. Why it is very important for the social co-creation to have diverse stakeholders? For instance, if you have some ideas on in terms of the design of the product, so you need to talk with the designers. Initially, like you not have the right access to talk just directly to designers. So what the companies have to need to do is that open up platforms, engagement platforms, allowing consumers sharing the ideas with the designers itself, and then designers can look into that and maybe improvise what are the insights that you are sharing. The third one is problem solving. So social co-creations is all about problem solving, meaning you improvise certain products or services in which you are creating something very unique question marks there on how this company can increase their productivity, influence consumers to buy more, and then increase also the business reputation. So the next one, the fourth characteristics of social co-creation is user-centered. So now companies, generally what we know that companies always involve all the employees, which is only internal aspects. But social co-creation allows external parties, which is consumers and customers, to be a part of designing a product. So we focus into user-centered design, in which customers or consumers, they have insights, ideas, based on their experience. Maybe you have a loyal into certain products, so you have some ideas there. So through that, you basically technically involve on how to generate a much more functional products. And lastly, the fifth one, characteristic of social co-creation is innovations. So co-creation basically increase innovative ideas, allowing you to create much more of better engagement and then to have a much more useful products. So the next one, this is one of very popular notes in the co-creation studies, which is dialogue fosters constructive interaction, comparisons ideas, knowledge and experience, overcoming of personal positions, and development of a shared meaning to a group. So by understanding this, a dialogue, or what we call that a statement from Government and Mel, in which a dialogue meaning a two-way communications, we are not one-way communications. If you just posted it in social media platform, for instance, it's not being going anywhere. So we need some attentions from the companies to look, and this is what we call it a unique and very good ideas. So we need a lot of interactions and comparison ideas in which some users, some consumers may have a different ways, different thoughts, and maybe different feedbacks. The knowledge and experience, what this referring to, is that the longer that you use certain things, certain products or services, you have a longer opinions. And therefore, you need to be shared with someone, with companies that have expertise to support your ideas to become a reality. So now, we're talking about social co-creation conceptually. There's a lot of ways that we can look into what are the benefits, what are advantages. Now, there are several things or benefits generally of social co-creation. So the first one is innovation. Advantages of when you have collaborative engage, you can be innovative thinker, meaning that if you have some ideas, let's say a product, a chair, a table, so anything that comes in front of you, you can have certain, innovative ideas on how to change the product into very useful, maybe 2 or 3 ways of assembling the product. So it encourages much more innovative among users, consumers, and also the companies can open up their, open up how users can be much more participate. So the next one, enhanced problem solving. So social co-creation at first place, maybe like we are talking about how people contribute into an ideas, in which ideas can lead into problem solving. Ideas can come from a different ways, right? So problem solving is one of the advantages of applying for companies. The third one, we have customer-centric products and services. So now, normally what we are practically knowing that all companies, they have customer services. But how far that what we shared is applied as an input for the companies to apply, maybe to increase their efficiencies of their productivity, maybe increase their services, maybe getting a lot of feedbacks from the customer, maybe leading to much more innovative ways of the productivity or services. Let me give you some very simple situation or scenarios. For instance, that you have, maybe I believe that some of us have, sharing a feedback forms, fill in the feedback forms, and then you want that your ideas can be, being paid attention by the company. So you maybe fill in some forms and, and then submit to the companies. However, you might not aware either your feedback can be been developed or maybe can be considered for the next future purposes. In social co-creation, it allows you to have more participative, and what we call it customer-centric. We want the customer being participative and very actively engaged with the company. The fourth one is to increase stakeholders' engagement. So now we realize that social co-creations allows everyone to be participate, allowing everyone to share his opinions, to engage actively, and becomes one of the contributors, major contributors for the product development. The fifth one, efficiencies and productivity. So in terms of efficiency of productivity, it's basically like if your feedback or your ideas being accepted by the companies, so therefore you be able to contribute to the company's efficiencies and productivity. Because we know the companies, they have the capabilities to develop that product, and also having the capabilities to, because of they have expertise, they have their engineering parts, they have designers, they have their own marketers, every part of businesses also, contribute to provide the outcomes of the product. And lastly, more importantly, social co-creations basically can share learning. Meaning that perhaps we can have very fruitful discussions, but not only discussions, but we can make suggestions on how the social co-creations allowing people to engage, increase their knowledge, and perhaps for the companies to learn much more better in by having these insights from the consumers and customers. So, is there any of co-creations that exist nowadays? If you think like co-creation, maybe not fully aware about what sort of like, is it co-creations really exist in companies? Right, I'll give you several examples of co-creation. Think Lab, Lego Ideas, Seed Lab, My Starbucks Ideas, Innovation Lab, and Global Co-creation Lab. These are existing company who applies co-creations and basically actively allowing the consumers and customers to participate. If you Google it right now, if you have ideas, let's say Starbucks ideas, if you have some ideas about how, to make it like flavorful coffee, I'm not sure either your coffee lovers or not, you like the coffee, right? Maybe you can add some of the flavors from fruits or anything that makes your coffee much more better taste. So you have the ideas. So you just posted it in My Starbucks Ideas, but you need to create an account. I'm not teaching you how to go to these websites, but you can basically explore the ideas that you have, all right? And then basically in your ideas, everyone can be participate. Another examples of collaborative engagement platforms. Okay, we do have like IBM, they have Innovation Jam, they have Lego Ideas. Okay, Dell also have providing an idea storm where your ideas reigned, Knowledge Hub, which is some of the government providing like, other people, citizens who have any ideas to share the ideas and into an engagement platform. And then some of the companies also, some of the brands, they usually have call it co-creation network. So basically, when you have an idea, there are companies that providing an engagement platforms for you to share your ideas in a way that it allows you to be much more actively engaged with the brand and then sharing your thoughts and ideas to the company itself directly without looking any or channeling your ideas to any kind of platforms. So it's very unique ways for you to share your thoughts and your insights to the company directly. All right. If you look here again, Lego Ideas. I know that everyone's have experience using a Lego. Maybe it's like a kid's toys and so on. But some of us may have very unique ways to interpret the ideas into by designing, just build up another unique designs or maybe a unique ways of, you're interpreting some of the products, anything. It's really, for instance, if you look here, ideas for Lego Ideas, you create an account, you submit an ideas, and they actually creating like based on votes. Customers and consumers, when they find out that this is a very interesting platform, they will engage directly to the companies. For instance, these Lego Ideas, allowing you to participate. It's if you have time, you can go and log in and then try to share about your latest design. And basically, Lego Ideas is part of ways on how you to co-create, creating much more meaningful ideas by developing or designing or building up through a Lego platforms. So if you realize that, not just giving an ideas, some companies such as Lego basically give you some portions of sales. If let's say your ideas can be a reality. So you're building up, like if you can see here, they got Sesame Streets. if you have a unique ways, to transform your ideas. So you submit to the Lego, and then you have to contest with other contestants, and then you compete with the idea, and then Lego will develop and build up your design, and then they will sell it. However, there are terms and conditions applied that depends on the companies. I'm just showing you one of the examples of co-creations, such as Lego ideas. Just now, when I'm sharing about my Starbucks idea, this is about how you share, both discuss and see. This is what they are looking for. You are shaping the future of Starbucks, even though it's not only for the flavors of the coffee itself, but also we can share about the ideas on how to design to make sure that the Starbucks will much more, welcoming, or perhaps maybe you have some ideas on how the Starbucks can maybe have different types of food, beverages that maybe increase, the profitability. So when we look into these companies, ideas can be turned into reality, but in a way that efforts come from you as consumers, customers, stakeholders. You need to very actively engage. We are not just posted it one time and then just leave it, because co-creation needs to be continuously engaged throughout the end of, the whole process. So when looking at what are the steps to navigate the co-creation process? So there's no specific ways on how to navigate the co-creation process. It involves several types, depends on the nature of the company itself. So what I can share here is that what are the general steps to co-create? First, any companies who like to develop or maybe to propose a co-creations need to ensure that they have a very defined and refined purpose and objective involving the customers and consumers. Okay, like any company, let's say, most of the companies, they need to very clearly out, maybe explaining what is the purpose of these engagement platforms. 2, stakeholder identify the participants who will participate. Let's say in Starbucks ideas, I'm just randomly sharing some of the companies that basically have that. So Starbucks, they need to identify you what kind of stakeholders are you? Are you consumers, customers, designers, okay, engineers, right? Anyone who like to, because they want to know the backgrounds. So company who would like to apply these co-creations, co-create activities, they need to know that who will their futures contributors, or call that innovators. So the next one, create a collaborative environment. So some companies, they have, we'll call that conferences, seminars, workshops, that call up every stakeholders to participate. But depends, again, the nature of the company. So you create a collaborative environment, allowing others to participate. So the company should know that who are the stakeholders at the first place. So when it comes to collaborative environment, means that they have, and this company should have the right and proper engagement platforms. Not only relies on whatever that we have at this moment, like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter itself, but specific for only for that particular brand. The fourth one is facilitate idea generation. So who can facilitate the ideas? The company should get well prepared to know that ideas may be blossom up, and then they will have maybe hundreds of ideas at one time. So the company should need to facilitate the idea generations, and then allowing that everyone have equally, fairly enough to participate in that particular activities. Fifth, prioritize the select ideas. So when companies have received hundreds of thousands even ideas, so they need to know that what kind of ideas need to be prioritized at the first place. So companies, using their expertise, they have their employees and staff and senior manager levels to, to engage and to know more about which ideas it can be usable for the company. The sixth one, company should have a prototype of testing the product. So meaning that the ideas comes to like fairly towards call that general product prototype, designing a very simple just to test the market. 7, collaboratively develop solutions. So from the prototype, the companies need to engage with the consumers and customers who, the ideations for platforms, and then they collaborate and work together to develop the solutions. And 8.1, implementation and evaluation, in which companies have to process, ensuring that the implementation should be applied and can be, engaged with a lot of resources so that they can develop a new product. And lastly, iterate and refine. So the whole process, the 9 process, is very generous steps to co-create. Right, I've been studied co-creations quite some times right now, and I've been interviewed several people who are basically involved. Some companies, they do have A/B test. So meaning to ensure which one that the company should focus on, in what ways that, which part that the company should participate in, what kind of resources that they need to ready. So the whole process, although it's very direct, but then it requires a lot of time. But do we basically, is it any companies capable to conduct these co-creation activities? So now we are looking at the capability sides of the company. Is it company able to receive a lot of ideas from the consumers and customers at one point? Or do they have, the company itself, brand, have the capability to support the engagement activities? So now we're not talking about small, medium enterprises. They do have the abilities to receive the ideas. However, to turn up the ideas into the reality requires a lot of expertise, a lot of support, a lot of, someone's, any kind of like departments or areas, okay, to make sure that the product becomes, reality. So these general steps to co-create basically involving a lot of strategy. So what I'm trying to say here is that a strategy means involving a lot of stakeholders, shareholders, to make sure that the process should be, successful. So imagine like well-known brands, they receive thousands of ideas at one point. So where these ideas goes to? So by creating an engagement platform, it allows everyone to participate, and the companies should be strategically knowing that to prioritize the ideas. And this, what I just explained just now, it's all about 10 steps to co-create. So it depends on the company's ability, how they can, make sure that the ideas can turn up into as a reality product. So time-consuming, costs, expertise, which areas or departments or designers perhaps who will to share or maybe to make sure that the product can be developed in the future. So co-creations can lead into several aspects because we're talking about collaborative engagement. We are working together with all the shareholders, with all the stakeholders as well, leading to a lot of ideas, a fruitful discussion, brainstormings, and ensuring that everything should be leading into something of very positivity. So now, co-creation, basically, it leading to a lot of ways, such as open innovations. For some companies may say like innovation hub. Also leading to design thinking, new product development, and user-generated content, or UGC. So now, for instance, open innovations. Some of us might be aware about the word innovation, but when it comes to open innovations, how well that we as users, consumers, and customers able to innovate and be creative at one point. So open innovation, one is another aspect that leading to from the collaborative engagement. It allow expertise, designers, engineers, software engineers, anyone that related to the particular products to innovate further, and then leading to much more innovative ideas to be to become a reality. If you just find some of the companies, they do have innovation hub. So basically, innovation hub, it's part of like a platform for the company to call that, allowing others, shareholders, stakeholders to work on the same missions or visions to create, and then to co-create, working together, that leading to much more innovative products. The second one is design thinking. If you're very interested to know more about design thinking, you basically can go to any companies who have professional certificates for that. But in this lecture for today, co-creations leading to design thinking, because when if you have ideas on designing a certain product, you have an ideas. So you talk with the designers on how to, make sure that these platforms, or maybe these websites, or maybe a certain design of certain products, let's say a very simple like apps, applications, right, that you download through your phones. You have the ideas, so you want to make change for that. So you talk with the companies. So it allows you to have, encourage much more high contributions from your perspective as consumers and also customers. The next one is NPD, or new product development. So new product development, in which the outcome of this co-creation. So if you look into several studies, co-creation can lead into new NPD, or new product development, in which, because we know that basically for the co-creations, it's collaborative engagement all among the shareholders or stakeholders, which are leading to creating a new product. So co-creation leading to new product development because of the ideas that generates through us, the whole process of engagement, active participations, ideations, and also leading to the end of the outcome of the product. So new product development, normally it happens for the companies who have, to open up their platforms and encourage a lot of new ways for the business to increase their performance through, developing or maybe promoting a new productivities, a new product. And lastly, user-generated content, UGC. Co-creation can leading to increase users' participation. Let's say if you knowing that platforms, companies have platforms, all right, you know that your ideas can be being a reality. So you increase your active participations by sharing your knowledge, sharing your insights, and sharing your thoughts about how to improvise these certain things. So using user-generated content is another part of co-creations, which also lead in the same way. So UGC, let's say, like you are posting it into Twitter, for instance, and anyone would like commenting your post, all right, and then a lot of ideas coming up, and through that, companies then they need to look into that perspective. So basically in user-generated content, allows anyone, everybody, fairly enough to engage and active to participate in that particular product. So the conclusion is that co-creations is very dynamic because it involves a lot of people. It involves a lot of stakeholders who are insights, because you have exclusive ideas, and you know that your ideas can be implemented in a for reality, meaning producing it. But how and what ways that your ideas can be generated? So through co-creations, it able to unlock inclusively to a process to unlock your innovative ideas. And I do believe that every one of us are very creative person, right? So through the ideas that you have, basically can contribute into much more better perspective. The second one, fosters collaboration and drive meaningful outcomes. So now co-creations is something like you can foster collaboration, you increase participation among all the stakeholders and shareholders. You're able to drive meaningful outcome. It's not just not a one-way thinking, but basically you can contribute into much more larger audiences. The third one, embracing creativity, fostering a culture of openness and trust. So now maybe with the very dynamic ways for us, everyone's sharing their contents through online platforms, right? So we can use that. We can use that to embrace the openness of innovative and creativity, allowing others to participate and then trust the whole process of co-creations. This allows companies to be ready, involved, allowing other consumers, customers to be creatively sharing their insights, ideas, and then addressing a lot of their thoughts through proper platforms. And then the third one, the last one, is that addressing complex challenges, create customer-centric solutions, and build stronger communities. So here, we're talking about complex challenges. Obviously, that companies have, even the consumers have their own complex challenge in which not sure is that the idea is fruitful, is that have a stronger solutions, you don't know where to go to. So basically you support each other, you can have a better ways to make sure that aligned with the needs of the companies who want to become much more innovative, and as well as encourage everyone to share their thoughts. So through the whole process of these co-creations, it allows everyone to become much more participative and contributes to much more openness and trust the whole process, and involving between all the stakeholders is very essential to make sure that corporations able to increase much more innovate creativity, and as well as creating new product in the future. So that's all from me with social co-creation.
Thank you so much for Dr. Nisrin. Yeah, for our audience, if you want to ask question, you can raise your hand or you can write in the room chat. Okay.
Okay, first question there. Sorry, is it the first one? Okay. Okay. I'm having received the first question. What is the co-creation of value in social marketing? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Faiz, for asking questions. So what is co-creation of value in social marketing? So now, when it comes to co-creation, basically we are creating a very valuable information. So there are several types of value. We have value in use, value exchange. You have several studies showing that when it comes to social marketing, like a very simple approach that most of right now is the users, consumers, we are basically doing social marketing. Why? Because all these viral things, when you repost and post and sharing and comments, everything, it's what we call it as social marketing. So when it comes to co-creation, we actually add it up into contributing the ideas to the marketers by improvising what they can do to make sure that their marketing strategy it's much more meaningful, close to the communities or societies, and then make sure that it's creates a lot of valuable information to consumers or future customers. Right. So the next question from Rudy. I have basic question about an ideas. Margin demanding to be multitasking, but I have so many ideas about anything, but I have problem with captures. Can you give me advices so I can improve better with making reality my ideas? Because I keep moving with activity and I have problem with memory. So now, thank you really for your questions. So now we're talking about ideas. I know that certain careers have, requires us to have multitasking, right? So the ideas come from different perspective, different scope, and different approach. However, that in a way that to make sure the ideas can be, when it comes to reality. So basically, okay. So basically here, the best way is that you need to find out what are the channel for you to contribute the ideas. Let's say you have a certain projects like project management, right? You have, they have the ideas. You have to look into sharing this during brainstorming sessions, maybe participate in conversations with the company itself, okay? And making sure that it's progressively towards the end, which is you receive the results of your idea. Because co-creation is not only one way, just sharing it and then just stop there. You have to be continuously contributing into, because why I'm saying like that is everyone have different ways of thinking, different experience, different ways, your innovative ideas. Everyone knows about further details about your ideas. Not only during brainstorming sessions, maybe you can go towards, being participate along the way, the whole process. All right. But we know that because we are human beings, we have a lot of creative ideas. We have our own creative side. So having that kind of, activities open up with other people's, not saying that, they're copying the ideas. No, because everyone have different perspective, a different background. So bear in mind that it requires you to much more focus into one single thing. All right. So in the future, you can fulfill that by sharing into the right channel, the right decision makers, or perhaps the right people who can make sure that your ideas can be accepted and can process for the stage of co-creations. Okay. So the next question, innovation and finding something new, which is more important in business. And number two, how can we understand, for example, we want to open a food business and our innovation can be accepted by society? Fabrina. All right, thank you for your question, Fabrina. So the first question, innovation and finding something new, which is more important in business. So basically, innovations, you want to create something new, and it is basically simultaneously. It comes together. All right, you cannot find something new without any innovative ideas. So you need both of it to make sure that your ideas can be aligned and be accepted by the people, consumers, if you're doing a business, right? Much more important. Both of it are very important, because we cannot finding something new without any innovative thinking. So it's a vice versa. But for businesses, we are not talking about any businesses. We're talking about businesses that have the capabilities to support the innovations ideas, open up and have expertise to support throughout the whole process of co-creations. So your second question, how we can understand, for example, want to open food business in our neighborhood receptive by society. So now there are studies showing that if we, let's say, if you, number two, Fabrina, your question, you can go to for the social enterprises. Have you ever heard the word social enterprises? So basically companies, they have a program. Certain company, they have a specific program. I would call that a business hub or innovation hub, or some of it social enterprises. So social enterprises, basically, they allows customers, consumers to be a part of designing the food, the menu. So engage directly, looking into the perspective on what customer want. But please bear in mind that customers always make change, even us as well. We always have our own self, our perspective of different minds, different aspects because of our different backgrounds. So you need to be, if you're really interested to open up this food business, what kind of food that be accepted by society, it depends on the culture, influence, the type of business that you're going to. And then in what ways, maybe the best way is the services. Okay, right now, food delivery is one of the, major change of disruption technologies, but it allows most of businesses to enjoy that services. So it's not about the food itself, but maybe you can offer in terms of the services. All right. The next question, Fabrina, the process of social corporations often involve multiple stakeholders and can be compared. How does the book explore the methodologies, frameworks for effective orchestrating collaboration among diverse groups in order to transform ideas into tangible, socially beneficial outcomes? So great question, Fabrina. So social corporations, yes, it's involved a lot of people. We are not having a very specific person. We are having a very open up, trust, involving a lot of stakeholders. So now it can be complex and very difficult. That's why in the first place, when I mentioned that social corporation is not only for small, medium enterprises, it's for the companies who have the capability to use that and to apply into the whole process, to innovate a new product. So what kind of methodologies and frameworks effectively orchestrating, collaborating these kind of groups of people, right? If you're looking at several studies, because corporations started from early 90s, if you find out any books, really books about corporation from Prahalad Ramaswamy early 90s, so basically he started to have, service dominant logic, SDL. So one of the theories that mostly widely used. However, in a practicality speaking, companies, they have a different way. So they create an engagement platforms specifically for innovative. Just what I'm showing just now about Lego store, Lego ideas, Starbucks ideas, knowledge hub, idea storm from Dell. These companies, they have an expertise. So in order to make sure that transforming the ideas into tangible, into a reality of product, meaning the finished goods, is that having this expertise from the companies to support along the process of corporations, and everyone able to benefit every process, because the whole process of corporations, if involve, strategically speaking, it involves a lot of steps. So the whole process requires strategic and decision makers, right? But when it comes to stakeholders, it's not everyone's, in the internal aspects, it's not only like designers, the senior manager levels, no. It's involve particular person, the right person to co-create. And that's why, I'm giving you an example just now about Starbucks ideas. Everyone can share ideas, but they want to know your background. That's why if you register right now, they will ask you your backgrounds, who are you, and what, maybe your expertise, your areas, what kind of, all that. So answering your question, Fabrina, socially beneficial outcomes, for sure. It allows everybody to participate. Your insights are being considered, and then your ideas can be turned into reality. And there's a very unique ways for co-creations. All right, so Farina, social co-creation often seeks to address pressing social. Yes. Could you provide insight into how the book tackles the ethical considerations and social responsibility associated with co-creation solution for a complex problem? Right. We are talking about anything, right? So in my perspective for today's sessions is for the company's views. However, if you mention about how the complexity of social responsibility, meaning that let's say if you have an ideas on how to create platforms or maybe like a specific projects, so you can encourage companies by if you're working in a company, for instance, or if you're not, you can suggest any companies to have a proper ways to channeling out the ideas, and then to make sure that the ideas could be received by the companies. And then by tackling the ethical consideration, meaning that certain companies, they have like terms and conditions and so on and above, depends on the policy. But creating a social responsibility with the corporation solutions is very call that valuable platform, creating a lot of insights. And if you want to contribute to the society, for instance, you can have a very simple website, right? And then you allows other people's societies to work together, co-create and develop a new program development for your own societies, for instance. So in a way that it's not about the end of the process, but the beginning will be initiate what is the next process, what you can do, what you can contribute. All right. So either it's a complex. So because when it comes to complex problems, it involves several people, right? To be fair, complex problems, including a lot of different perspectives, different ways, different thinking, and different innovative ways on how to make, you want to propose as solutions. So you bear in mind that there is no specific solution. One solution can solve a lot of issues. So co-creation allows once it happen one time, and it's one time, depends on what you want. So hopefully that even a society ethical consideration and so on depends on policy then again, and it creates like if you have ideas to generate or call that society's program. So you want to encourage people to participate. So you create a platform. That's the best way. All right. So the next question, okay, social co-creation of 6 to addressing. Okay, I think that I just answered this one. After reading from ideas already, yeah, I read good. Yeah. What are some of the key takeaways or actionable insights that individuals, organizations, or policymakers can apply in their efforts involving social co-creations, especially in achieving meaningful outcomes and transformative for society? Right. So the key takeaways, the first thing is that being openness, meaning that everybody, including companies, policymakers, individual consumers and customers, designers, whatever backgrounds that carriers, whatever, so on. So basically, everyone should contribute, meaning that through your vast experience, your idea, your opinions, your feedback matters for companies or anyone who would like to receive that. Secondly, actively engaging. So you need to actively engage. You're not just one time, just sharing one thoughts and that's it, but you have to make sure that your ideas, everyone can be easy to understand, because you're talking based on your experience, you're talking about your opinions, you want to make sure the ideas, everyone are on the same page. So by achieving this, okay, either the individuals or companies, anyone, by involving social co-creations, it creates some meaningful. The third one is that you are creating a new value. Okay, meaning that you improvise something, you are contributing something. You are not only contributing to society itself, because you're basically making sure that the products is very usable, right? And then valuable also referring to on how companies appreciate your insights because you are using the final products. You are basically using it for your daily routines. So you have a lot of experience through that. So they need to have your ideas to contribute back into the company and then to generate another outcome, right? Let's say new product developments or open innovations, right? And I think I'm answering all the questions. Perhaps is there any other questions?
Enough. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nisrin Alyani. This session, take a picture. Before we close this visiting lecture, please open your camera. Okay, I will take a photo on the count of 3. We'll take a picture. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Again. 3, 2, 1. Thank you all for your participation and enthusiasm. We have captured this moment and we'll make sure to share it with your as moment 2 of this wonderful visiting lecture. Miss Novita?
Thank you so much for Miss Febri. Yeah, before I close this event, thank you so much for Dr. Nisrin for sharing your knowledge. I hope this information will be beneficial for our audience, and I hope we can meet again at another event in the future with Universiti Polytech Malaysia. Yeah, before I close this event, maybe you will say something before, Miss? Okay, I think it's okay. Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful session today. Thank you so much and have a nice day for Dr. Nisrin and all participants. Thank you.